Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 18 of the Bucs UK podcast. I'm your host, Alex, and I'm joined by none other than Bucs UK royalty. I've got two of the Bucs UK head honchos, if you like, in David and Phil, and fresh from his national TV debut, where he did Bucs UK proud. He's going to need an agent if he gets any more gigs at this rate. It's Adam. Hello, all. Thank you for joining me.
Hi.
Hello, guys.
Usual reminders, please like the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are at over 200 subscribers now, which is just fantastic. So on behalf of all of us here at Bucs UK, thank you for your incredible support. Also, we are on social media. We've got Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Links to all be in the description below. Please come and find us on there too. If you are a Bucs fan and you live in the UK and you're not a member of Bucs UK, why not? Come and join us. We're always thrilled to welcome new members to the Bucs UK family. Visit our website, www.bucsuk.org, and click on the Join tab, and all the information you need about membership is on there. Also, thank you again to Bucs Report for supporting and promoting our podcast. We really do appreciate it. If you want to check them out, their link is also in the description below. Right, without further ado, let's dive in and dissect the Kansas City Chiefs at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the Bucs came close, but they couldn't quite find that winning formula for victory, and Kansas left Tampa with the win. This now leaves the Bucs at 7-5 for the season. So David, just coming to you first on that one. 7-5, that's still pretty good at this moment in time, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been a while since we've had a positive winning season, and, we're still online to get that. So, let's not get too downhearted. We've had a couple of defeats in a row, both 27-24. And, at the start of the season, we all penciled this Chiefs game as a loss. We were playing probably the number one team coming up against us this season. And I think probably the bad start, the slow start from us and then getting points on the board made it feel a lot worse than in reality it really was. At the end of the day, it was only a 3-point game. And, if we'd have made another play in the red zone, then that could have easily have been our game. So it was really disappointing to lose on the night, but we can't get too downhearted by it. We've already had a long season with no pre-season. We're the last round of getting a bye, and you can tell we desperately need a bit of a break. So, yeah, it was a shame. We could have really done without it, but, let's not over-expect at the minute. Let's get the 7 rings, take them as they are. They're in the bag, and, let's focus on just getting a winning season and getting the playoffs in the wild card.
All really valid points there. Adam, how relaxing was it for you watching that?
Yeah, it's up and down. But first, before I start, I'd just like to send some get well soon wishes to Kieran and the family down there. Hope everyone gets well soon. But back to the game. I just thought a disastrous first half. And then from there on, we competed with them. We beat them over the 3 quarters. So we can't spot them 17 points in the first quarter. We can't spot any teams 17 points in the first quarter. So I don't know, if we can get off to any better start. Like, I got a little stat here. First quarter points for us and against us. We've scored 34 points in the first quarter, and we've been outscored by 90 points. So there's a bit of a theme going here where we're starting off slow. We can't spot 90 points to 34.
I mean, the first couple of games, our opening drives, we went straight down the field for touchdowns.
Yeah.
And then it seems to have dried up since then.
Yeah.
That's interesting, that, Dave. We did, but we sort of disappeared in the second quarter. And I feel like I'm saying the same thing, every time I'm on, is that if I had a magic wand, well, I'd like us to play for 4 quarters. Not just 3. I mean, I wrote down here that I thought both teams played very well. The difference being is that they started playing well from the first minute of the first quarter, where it took us 2 minutes into the second quarter to actually get going. And that would be the difference, I mean, and they had a very interesting game plan, and that seemed to be get the ball, snap the ball, get it out of your hands as quick as possible, and throw it and aim towards wherever Carlton Davis was. And you know,
pick on him.
Yeah.
well, you know, when somebody like a wide receiver is 270 odd yards, he got them 3 touchdowns. Well,
Yes.
and,
Looking at a quarter.
and when you saw him, and when you saw the picture of here's Tyreek Hill holding the ball up, there was number 24 standing next to him, and you know that was what it just seemed. Get the ball out, get it into the wide receivers, because he knew that the pass, you know, the Pierre Pauls, the Dominican Sue, and all the rest, and Barrett were coming at him, and that's what they did. And be quite honest, it's not a lot of difference between that and Goff last week.
So, Phil, just sort of extending on that quickly, if we can. What did this game tell you about the 2020 Buccaneers? I think a lot of people had highlighted this game as where we really see what this team's about.
Yeah, yes, and I'd be quite honest. I'm not as disappointed as I thought I was going to be. I honestly think, you know, us long-term Buccaneers fans always realise we're Super Bowl champions in July, and as I think it's Bruce Arians said something about that this week.
Yeah.
And well, it's true. We are exactly the same. We're always winning that, you know. But this year we had a big year to be hopeful, and be quite honest. We had, like Dave said earlier, no pre-season, no practice, and we got off to a pretty good start. But in the meantime, they've got film on us now. They can see where our weaknesses are, and they're exploiting them. So as far as I can see, we've got rid of, and I wish I really might regret saying this, we've got rid of some of our worst, hardest fixtures. We've got the 4 remaining ones to put things to bed, and we've got 2 weeks to sort it out. But we are 7-5. And if you look at the standings, it's the NFC. Hang on, is it West? Yeah, with Seattle, Arizona, and that are big threats, because the other two I don't think it's going to provide much of a problem.
I think that's a key thing that you just said there, Phil. We are still 7-5. It's not panic stations yet. We've got the bye week. We can regroup and then come on to the final part of the season and hopefully finish on a high there. So we've spoken about the game as a whole. Let's now have a look at the offense in a bit more detail. Phil, I'll come to you first on this occasion. How would you describe that offensive performance?
I didn't think it was that bad. I think Brady's getting some undeserved criticism. Yeah, he's got 1 or 2 throws that aren't the Brady of years ago, but he's 43. What do they expect? You know, play to his strengths. But, you know, there's some of those throws which were what I call Brady-esque. And I put down, when I watched the game the second time, I noticed, like, if Evans had called that ball in the second quarter, and Brate missed one, you know, it could have been a different ball story altogether. So, you know, he threw for 345 yards, 3 touchdowns. Well, you know, that's good. That's good. And I will say one word for the offensive line. It wasn't as bad as it has been in previous games.
Yeah.
But, you know, Evans targeted 9 times and caught 3. And, you know, there was a couple of them he should have caught.
I think I think you made a really good point there, Phil, where there's just these 1 or 2 plays where if it had just turned out a bit differently, we could be talking about a whole different ball game. David, sorry, Phil, do you want to add something else?
I will say that, but I will also say at the same time, if Hardman had caught that one in the midfield, we'd be another touchdown now. So let's just get this in context, shall we? You know.
So, David, is this offense still gelling, or do you think there's a bigger problem here?
I think, yes, it is definitely still gelling. They're still trying to work each other out and get used to it. I mean, again, some of those plays to Mike Evans, it was all about timing, and it's a mixture. One is Brady's just not had the time with them to actually work on their timing, no pre-season. And, you know, we lost Mike Evans and Godwin early on in the season as well. So they've not played consistently. And then even the last few weeks, Evans wasn't targeted an awful lot. So you can see that actually they haven't had a great deal of time to work on it. I think Brady doesn't like pressure as a quarterback. He's never actually experienced it probably as much as he has been at the Bucs. And you can tell definitely I think he's releasing the ball earlier than he's probably meant to on routes sometimes, and that's not giving receivers. I mean, the break run that you picked up on earlier, as soon as his hands were going up, the ball was going through his hands. I think sometimes the passes are just a little bit early, and I think it's just getting in. They've not really had quite the chance to gel and get that rhythm. And I'm going to harp on about it like I do every week. Why do we keep critting on the running game? You know, Rojo, you know, he took a catch out of the backfield. Thankfully, we had a running back that actually took a catch, and he turned it. Fantastic run for a touchdown. Then later on in the third quarter, he made another run of 34 yards.
We don't see him.
Didn't get another play. Didn't get another play.
I know.
And you've got to have balance in this team. And, you know, we weren't, you know, 24 points down at the time. You know, it was a 3 or 7 point game. The time on the clock.
What do you think, Dave? Sorry, Dave. What do you think? Does Bruce Arians not trust the running backs? Is that why he's deserting the game so quickly?
Well, I don't think any of us know the answer to that. I think, you know, there's speculation in the press and everywhere at the minute. Is it Brady making his own calls? Is it Left Rich? Is it Arians? I don't think we even have a clue between us who's even making the calls at the moment.
No.
I mean, Arians did come out and he did say that apparently it is Brady making the calls. Like you say, we don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But
my concern is actually, you know, we've got a head coach and an offensive coach, and that's what they're paid to do. And they should be managing that team. You can't just throw the players on the field under the bus. You've got to take that responsibility. That's what you're paid for. Get out there and do it. But, you know, we've got 53 men on the field every game. We've got to use them all. And to suddenly quit things that are working for us is disappointing.
It's stupid. Like we see... Go on.
Yeah, so no, I was about to say, Adam, what's your thoughts on this offense? What about the play calling? You know, Brady seems to be struggling a little bit, but the pressure is not liking. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm giving Brady almost a complete pass. I don't think it's him. I think when he looks like he's struggling, it's because he's been asked to do things that are probably, and he knows in his mind, are not the correct play to play. I don't know. I've done a few stat finding again, right? The games we've won this season, comfortably won. We haven't had a game with less than 24 rushing attempts. The games we've lost, we haven't had more than 17 rushing attempts. So every game we've lost, we've had 5 rushing attempts against the Saints, 17 with the Rams, 12 rushing attempts against Kansas City just gone. The games we've won, like Green Bay, we're up in the 35 rushing attempts. We're up in the 34 rushing attempts against the Panthers. It's so obvious that when we get a running game going, we win the game. And to have some good runs like that 35-yard or 34-yard Rojo run, and then not even see him for the rest of that quarter, it blows my mind. I don't understand why it's so obvious that we look good when we establish a running game, and then we just don't use it at all.
Something, just going on what you're saying there, Adam, we're also only seeing 2 of our running backs at the minute. We've got the Sean McCoy, who I believe he is fit. I think he's been there.
Yeah.
I'm not. I think was Keyshawn Vaughn on IR or was he injured for a bit?
No,
I'm not sure.
He was just inactive.
He was just inactive. So
he's been there for the last
healthy
3
scraps.
weeks.
Yeah.
But we've got the Sean McCoy there. You know, we've got another option. Let's use him. What's going on there?
Well, particularly on third downs, 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s.
Well,
that's what McCoy was brought in to do, is to be that receiving running back on those short down plays. And I mean, there was a little bit going around, you're talking about stats earlier, Adam, about over the last 16 years, or whatever it was, that Brady was at the Patriots. The percentage of plays when the Patriots were in 3rd and short, the vast proportion of them were runs. They weren't pass plays.
No.
You could go back to the Patriots. They always ran. The whole of Brady's career, they had 3, I wouldn't say outstanding running backs, but they had 3 competent running backs all the time. You know, they've always ran by committee, and that's part of Brady's game. And, you know, I cannot understand why you get the in my opinion, the greatest of all time in, and then you don't go and play to his strengths.
No.
I mean, you just said about McCoy. McCoy is one of the best
3 down, 3rd bump back.
and also catching, pass-catching running backs in the NFL. And that's another thing of Brady's pass. You know, the screenplays and the short passes and double. That was always part of the Patriots game. But dear me, I just don't see what they're trying to do.
Do you think this could be? Do you think this could be a Tom Brady who's just still not comfortable in a team? You know, he's learning a new head coach still, a new offensive coordinator. Is he just not quite comfortable yet?
But then surely, if he's not comfortable, then the way to bring him in gently is to put less passes on him and to run the ball more.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Just build on it through the season. We were all saying early doors that we weren't using the tight ends. So, you know, just feed them in through the season. It seems to be that the only thing he's got confidence in it is going to Gronk.
On the scene.
On the scene, you know. It's...
And it's great to see that Brady. It's great to see that Brady Gronk connection coming back. Sorry, Phil, you want to say something? I apologise.
Yeah, the short passes. That's what the Patriots did, you know. And they won 5 Super Bowls and they lost to 3 more. But it's just short passes. Keep it simple. These long balls, they're just, you know,
they're too predictable.
They're too and there's too much hang time as well.
Yeah,
you know, they're coming down, and that you can see them. Oh, it's coming, and it's. I just feel that we're not playing to Brady's strengths at all.
No, well, he's lived off play action, hasn't he, for so long? So why aren't we establishing our run game just to make the play action work?
Exactly.
It's simple. It sounds simple, but obviously we're struggling with it.
I mean, there's lack of play action. There's lack of motion before the snap. Essentially, we're just standing him there, ready to stand in the pocket.
I know, but what I will say, the Kansas City game, when we did the plays in motion, when we did the play action, it works. It works, and it looks beautiful. And we're all thinking, here we go. They've clicked you, and then we don't see Rojo running for the next 7-8 plays.
I don't know.
But one thing that hasn't changed is we still see the run on first down, always up the gut.
Always a run up the gut.
They're not changing.
And I think one of the most annoying thing, what you're all saying, you're saying the same things as we said the last week, the week before, and the week before that, and it's just not changing. It seems like that's plan A, we're sticking to it. End of.
The other thing that worries me is not using our receivers to their strengths.
No.
You know, Godwin, I know he was injured earlier in the season, but for the last 2 or 3 seasons, he's been our fast, deep threat.
Yeah.
You know, he's been the pace guy that goes down the back. You look at the victories at home to New Orleans a couple of years ago, 2 seasons in a row. He got the last-minute deep threat balls. And all of a sudden, he's playing these little slant balls and then trying to run through the line and the linebackers, or he's doing sort of, 4 or 5 yards. We're not using him deep like he should be used. And, you know, Mike Evans, again, we're using that slant. He needs to be there when you need someone aggressive. And, I mean, wow, what a play Mike Evans did make.
Absolutely,
big time.
Amazing.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but every time I watch it, I seem to feel Brady's trying to force the ball to Antonio Brown a bit too much. He seems to be the guy that he wants to go to.
But is he under pressure to use him because he insisted on him coming in? And he feels that if he's there, he's got to use it.
Who knows?
Very good point, David. Absolutely not.
Let's just hope they use this 2 weeks wisely, hey?
I think we can say that as fans, it's extremely frustrating that we can see these things that need to change. Unfortunately, the people who are in charge don't seem to be making these changes for whatever reason. But hey, we're only fans. We've only got a few. What can we do?
You know, you look at it. We've got a pretty, now that Marpet's back, a pretty okay offensive line. It has its weaknesses for now and then. But generally, it's been pretty consistent. We've got a recognised, established GOAT quarterback. We've got 3 receivers that are all capable of delivering. Running backs are there. Tight ends are there. We've got all the weapons. We've got all the personnel needed to win. We just need to get it working.
Our rushing attack is... where are we at? Our rushing is 28th in the league. That's terrible. But if you use our rushing attack more, like other teams, if we're getting 25, 30 carries a game, that 28th ranking is shooting right up to the top 10, top 15, I think.
Well, I think there's also... We've got
to use them.
The thing is, we've got Ali Marpet's back now, and that means we're at full strength on our offensive line. And you know, as you saw some of the runs of Rojo made, there were some holes being made. They haven't been made in previous weeks. You know, we're very thin at O-line. We've got some good starters, but after that we haven't got anything. And I've said it. I think I said this on the last podcast. Not like the Patriots, whose reserves were as good as most people's starters. And that's the key. You've got to give Brady time, make the running back holes.
Use the running game.
Yeah. But I just think, you know, we've got 2 weeks to get everybody a bit healthier, and let's just see what happens now.
Absolutely.
Can I just add another point? We're probably coming on to the defence in a minute.
Here we are, yes.
But the fact that we seem to keep running a 3-and-out offence means our defence don't get a break either.
No,
you know, they're constantly on the field. And even if we make 2 or 3 first downs and runs, at least it gives the other side of the ball a breather as well.
I know.
So David mentioned the defence, and I think it's after a great conversation about the offence, gentlemen, I think it is time we do move on and chat about this defence. For me, it was literally a game of 2 halves with this defence. First half, we gave up 4 scores, 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals, and then 203 yards alone to Tyreek Hill. That was in the first quarter. Tyreek Hill ended up with 269 overall at the end of the game. But then in the second half, we only gave up 1 touchdown. And the offense stepped up and scored 3 scores. Adam, I'll come to you first. That. Give us your. I saw you put your hands to your face while I was giving that. Take us through your thoughts.
Well, take away that first quarter, we're in the game. We're winning the game. Take away that first quarter. I just do not understand these slow starts on offense and defense. It's criminally bad that we can spot them 17 points and not adjust until the second half.
Do you think this zone defense, that this soft coverage, is a problem?
I don't. It was a big problem in that first quarter. But I will say something. Bowles did get him playing because I was incredibly impressed. Second quarter-ish, third quarter, brilliant. Fourth quarter, brilliant. And Donovan Suh, he was putting pressure. There was a period of that game where he was in Mahomes' face nearly every single play. He was brilliant. But yeah, I'm still not convinced with this soft zone.
Phil, what about you? What do you think about this defense?
I agree with what Adam said, but I like you said, like I said earlier on, Mahomes' game plan: get the ball gone and throw the ball deep and test the secondary, which obviously worked. Second half, they were getting at him, and there was more. You know, he is probably the best quarterback in the league, and he was having all sorts of problems with our defense in the second half. You know, but same old. We need to play for 4 quarters and not 3.
The big worry I got is watching that first quarter. Every time the ball goes up in the air, you're always thinking, "Oh, it's they've just taken 30, 40 yards off us here." But the worry I got is that every team could do that to us. I've got very little confidence that we can stop that against any team.
Well, I tend to agree with you because, I mean, this happened against the Rams as well with Cooper Kupp last week. It was same old. We've got plan A, no plan B.
This zone secondary defence just isn't working.
No.
I mean, it seems to be that every time we come up against 2 or 3 receivers, particularly on third down, is the most frustrating thing going. You know, the quarterback drops back, fires it, and picks out the receiver, and there's probably 4 players around him on defence, but no one quite within 5 or 10 yards. So they've got the guys surrounded, but they're just not tight enough.
But then, as we saw, David, there was certainly a change in the second half on the defence, wasn't there? I think we went from zone to man. I mean, what was your impressions on the second half there, David, when the defence was really playing aggressive and getting into Mahomes' face?
Well, that just shows it works when we play zone and we get aggressive up front. I mean, you know, that is what the Bucs defence needs to be all about. And I do think for the last 3 or 4 weeks, again, we've dropped down a number of blitzes as well. We've been picked off a few times. I think we felt that, you know, teams are recognising we're over-aggressive and they've been playing it against us. But actually, that's how we get out and win games, is we need that aggressive defence. And we've got to stick with it.
Yeah, the secondary concerns me, though. It really does.
What is it about the secondary, if anything, in particular?
Well, they obviously were picking on Carlton Davis. You know, it was.
He had a tough night, didn't he? Tyreek Hill rang him all over the field.
That wasn't what I called it. Tough night was a bit stronger than that, to be quite honest. But you know, and last week it was Jamal Dean. He had a bad one last week, and I'm not quite sure which Murphy Bunt is going to turn up. And it concerns me, our secondary. I thought at the beginning of the season, I thought, wow, they're young, they're aggressive. This is going to be one of our strong points, and it's not.
But surely, with regards to Tyreek Hill, isn't the way to stop him to double cover, which we didn't do very much at all?
No. I mean, I think that they went out there having a lot of faith in Carlton Davis because, I mean, at times he can be a stud. I mean, he's right up there in the Pro Bowl voting at the minute.
Yeah.
And he can really play, and I think they really trusted him on that, and it just came back to haunt them. They should have given far more secondary coverage from that with the safety getting across and doubled up on Hill.
Well, the greatest of respect, the two strongest players they've got is Hill and Kelce. You got to double coverage Hill. Yeah. He's just a menace. Well, yes, he's a menace. And I just couldn't understand any of it. They just tore us apart that first quarter, and then we woke up.
Yeah, credit where credit's due. We did wake up, and I think we played brilliantly apart from our first quarter. So, for me, I think the defense can still carry us through these games, and we can definitely make a good playoff run. But I just worry that at any moment in any game, any team can do that to us. What happened in our first quarter?
Yeah,
and they can just open it up, and they can get 14 points, 17 points, and we haven't got nothing to come back with. We'll abandon the run with the same old story again. So that's my biggest worry.
Assuming we do get to the playoffs, because it's looking likely, obviously we're not confirmed yet by any stretch of the imagination. Does the fact that we are giving up these scores, big scores in the first half, I remember a few weeks ago we had someone ask a question about the slow offensive start, and all of us who was on that episode said, as long as the offense gets going, the defense holds up, we've got nothing to worry about. If the offense can't get going and the defense are giving up these big scores, we're going to have a big issue should we get to the playoffs, aren't we?
Huge.
Yes, we are very much so. We scored 24 points against the Super Bowl champions, and really that should be enough.
Yeah, and to put that up against the Super Bowl champions is certainly a great. We've done well to do that. They're a good team, Kansas. So I think we gave them a good battle, but unfortunately, as we said, just couldn't quite get over the line there. So we've had a chat about the defense. We've got the final part to discuss now, which is of course the special teams. Now, again, we've spoken a lot over previous episodes. I'm sure we've all mentioned it at some point about kickoff return and punt return, or that aspect of the game. Phil, did you see anything in this game that made you feel happier about special teams, or are you still thinking there's still work to be done there as well?
Yeah, I think there is. The punt returns are just. Well, there's virtually non-existent. Bog standard, nothing. Yeah, Ryan Suckup is a kicker. I think we're taking him for granted these days. Let's give him another shout. And that as I think it was Tony Romo said, that our highlight of the first quarter was Pinion's 62-yard punt. So really, special teams, I wouldn't say they did nothing wrong. They did all right. Nothing spectacular. They did all right,
David, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, they just need to not make mistakes. I think we've got enough other weapons on offence and defence to be able to do jobs. And as long as we've got someone that's sticking the ball through the posts, that's all we really need of.
Yeah.
And Adam, just coming to you, as both David and Phil have mentioned Suckup. Been a long time since we've had a kicker. I know we always say don't say it, but surely we can say now we've got a kicker.
Oh, we definitely got a kicker. And even if he misses one now, I'm not even concerned. It's got to the point where I don't even watch the kicks now. I'm pretty sure they're going to go over. I don't want to jinx it now. But they just...
Ooh, wish you'd never said that.
That's it now, against Minnesota. Do you want me to cut that bit out for you, Adam, to save you any pressures on that bit?
I've lowered my expectation bar right down for our special teams now. If they don't muff a punt into the touchline, I'm happy. I'm just content.
Just remember the first game of the season when they all decided to collide with each other.
Yeah,
the ball was bobbling off all over the place. So, I'm with Dave on this one. As long as they're making mistakes, I'm fine with special teams.
As long as they catch the ball and don't drop, just as long as they don't do anything stupid. I've readjusted my evaluation, and I'm not expecting them to run one back to the house. I'm not expecting any of that anymore. Just catch the ball, play the safety, and that's it.
I mean, the fact that most kickoffs now go into the end zone, there's a lot less opportunity now.
For me, that kickoff rule needs changing. It's just ridiculous. It's a waste. I mean, I'm not going to lie, though. I thought us bringing Antonio Brown in would at least give us some chance on these returns. I know he's not been in much, but every time he's been in, he's just let the ball go. Obviously, he's playing it safe. I haven't got a problem with that. But he's a playmaker, Antonio Brown. Surely he can do something for us there.
Can I say he was a playmaker? He's been missing for a season and a half. He's only like 3 or 4 games into it now. Give him a bit more time. He'll come through. He's a class act, Antonio Brown is. And, when we get up to speed a bit, I put a lot of emphasis on these 2 weeks. You know that, don't you?
Yeah.
A lot of emphasis on this.
I can't wait to hear your magic wand, Phil, shortly.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so we have the bye week now. Time to regroup, prepare for the final 4 games of the season. I want you to put your imagination on now, boys. Bruce Arians has phoned Bucs UK. He's watched our episodes. Come on, BA, watch these at some point. Mm-hmm. He said to us, "I've seen your Magic Wand segment. What does the Magic Wand need to fix over these 2 weeks of the bye?" David, come to you first.
Run the ball, run it. Mix up the offense. Give Brady a chance. Play action and motion and run the ball. I want to see over 25 runs against the Vikings.
Exactly.
Phil, what about you?
Well, my Magic Wand's a bit different. What I want to do is to actually give all the players a day off. I want all the coaches to come in and watch the Patriots win and see how they use Brady, and then perhaps they might get a bit more imagination, a bit more idea of how to use the greatest player of all time. Yeah, that's my Magic Wand.
I like that one. Adam?
It's got to be the run game. It's the obvious thing for me. When it works, it works. So don't go away from it. If you can see it working, stick with it. And it's hardly a magic wand, but it's just a simple fix that I think will actually work. I
have to say, I do agree with you and David, Adam. I think we need to get back to this run game. I remember against the Panthers, I can't quite remember the figures, but I think we ran the ball 30 times or more and we got over 200 yards and we won that game comfortably. So I agree with you too. Yeah. I think we need to get that run game back in.
34 rushing attempts against the Panthers.
Is that what it was? And look at the result. We blew them out the water. So we need to see that run game back in. Absolutely. Yeah.
And if they all come and watch the Patriots games, they'll see the Patriots run the ball a lot.
35 times, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right there, Phil.
We're all saying the same thing, really.
Might not see them win as much, though.
How did he get to be the GOAT if all we do is run the ball?
He sets up the passes.
Brady's a winner, and I still think he's going to come through for this. I really do. You know,
he wouldn't be getting so upset if he doesn't want to win.
Absolutely.
You can see it in his face. He wants to win. These losses are hurting him so badly. Yeah, big time. Yeah. And he's back on me 2 weeks again, and he's. I can see them really trying. To put all this right. Because let's face it, we've got. I wish I wasn't saying this bit as well. Most of our harder games are over now, although I'm a bit concerned about the 2 coaches who are probably working 24 hours in the Falcons to try and beat.
Hold that thought, Phil. We're coming on to that later. Yeah, hold on to that. You're doing what I do when Kieran's hosting, trying to get them reporting. Hold fire there.
Right, okay.
So those were the views of our esteemed panel. We're now going to have a look at the views of our members. Please make sure you do post on the forum doing games. We're always reading them, and hopefully you might see yourself on here at some point as well. So we'll start off with Wayne, or Cambridge Bucs fan, as he's known on the forum. To be honest, no one expected us to win this game coming into the game. And after the first quarter, no one expected us to even the score. From the second quarter, we played so much better, and had we played the whole game like that, there is little doubt we would have won this one. A week off to recover and regroup, and I think we will be a force to be reckoned with for the end of the season. I think he brings up a good point there, actually, guys, because we did only lose by 1 score, which we have done previously. We could easily have won that one. Then we have David, or Glasgow Buck as he's known on the forum. Against the best, we are still a little bit short. We clawed our way back into the game, and I never thought it would be a field goal separating us after the first quarter. Our next four should be winnable, so the good news is that we will make the postseason. Against the best, will we go deep into the playoffs? Interesting. A good question. We'll come on to that shortly, and we'll have a discussion on that one as well. And finally, our last one is Scott Hanley, Scott 26 on the forum. Can't be too hard on the Bucs today. Mahomes and the Chiefs just score when they want, and they play with complete confidence and control, which comes with winning all the time. In this case, the Chiefs decided to end the game by Q1 with some quite blockbuster plays. The rest of the game is just a footnote. Still favourite for the playoffs, but looking at how the Falcons played last night, we sure can't take the last games for granted.
No, big time.
Especially as they've had coaching changes, which Phil mentioned earlier, and we'll come on to that shortly as well. Right, giveaway time now. I mean, you say thank you to Dom as he is supplying the prizes for this one, and they are a program from the International Series game against the Patriots back in 2009, and 3 cards featuring Leonard Fournette and Keyshawn Vaughn. Thank you to all of you that entered. Let's spin the wheel and see who the lucky winner is this time.
Oh, look at the teams.
I like it. And it's Neil Ferguson. Neil, congratulations. Well done.
Ferguson.
They will be, and the program and the cards will be on their way to you very shortly.
Well done.
So normally in this next part of the show, we would be looking, or previewing, shall I say, our next game, which is, of course, the Vikings. But we thought we'd give you a bit of a treat. As we've got a bye week, we thought we'd not only look at the Vikings, but the games against the Falcons and Detroit as well. I'll be asking all 3 of my co-hosts, David, Phil, and Adam, for their views on these games. So just before we take a look at the final 4 games, we're just going to quickly go back and have a quick look at the season up to this point. So you can see on the screen that we have our the schedule predictions that were made by Adam, myself, Kieran, Pete, and the Bucs UK members prior to the season. On top of the team badges, we've got whether it was a loss or a win for the Bucs. And then in week 13 at the top, you can see that I've got the Bucs record that it stands at the moment. So if you scroll your eyes just a bit further down, you'll see Adam, myself, Kieran, Pete, and the members' predictions as well. So if we just look back quickly at the season so far, we opened with a loss against the Saints, a loss that most of us predicted in this instance, and then we went on that wonderful 3-game win streak against the Panthers, Broncos, and the LA Chargers before that horrible 1-score defeat against Chicago, which I think we're all still baffled that we didn't win, even though that was in week 5. But then following on from that, we had that outstanding win against the Packers. So tempted to insert the image I've got of Aaron Rodgers doing that dance after his touchdown at this point. It's so tempting. And then also good wins against the Raiders and the Giants before another loss against the Saints, followed by the Bucs, should I say, completing the double over the Panthers, and then our losses against the Rams and the Chiefs. So if you scroll your eyes back down the screen and have a quick look at the predictions that were made by Adam, myself, Kieran, Pete, and Bucs UK members, you'll see that Adam had us at 9-3 at this stage. I'm taking this as a victory. I'm not normally very good at predictions, but I've got us at 7-5, and that's what we are. So that's a win for me in my book as far as I'm concerned. Kieran had us at... Sorry to disappoint. Kieran had us at 6-6. Pete, I loved his optimism, but unfortunately, it just hasn't turned out that way. 12-0 is not where we're at.
I think you've only put this up because you've won.
I didn't realise I was going through it like I won it, but I thought I'm definitely keeping it in.
Oh, yeah, we believe you. Oh, yeah.
And then our members had us at 10-2. So if we now look at the final 4 games of the season, David, Phil, and Adam, as we can see, the predictions look pretty positive. I wonder how everyone's feeling about that now, given what we've seen in the first half of the season. David, I'll come to you first. What do you think? How are these last 4 games going to go now that we've played the, if you like, the Bucs have played their first half of the 2020 season?
Right. Well, I mean, as we've just said in the first segment, we know all the potential and all the ingredients are there in this Bucks team, and we've just got to get it together. I think the Vikings, they're a bizarre team at the minute. Well, they're 5-6, and they've had some amazing wins and some crazy losses. I mean, losing against the Cowboys is just like crazy. So I expect us to go and win that one. I expect us to actually have too much room. We've gone through the bye week. We've had a break. We've got our stuff together, and I think we'll come out and win that. I think the Falcons games are going to be the 2 interesting ones for me.
Yep.
They were pretty dire first half of the season, but since a change in coaching staff with our old friends there, actually they are now performing like a team, and they're my biggest worry at the moment. So, you know, we've got to do a job against them. Luckily, we do have a half-decent record against them. And again, I hope that we have the success. As long as we keep Jones covered, then I think, you know, we should get through them. Detroit are definitely beatable. I don't really have any concerns about them. So, you know, we've really got to look this half, the last 4 games, we've got to win at least 3 of them, from my view. And I think definitely the Vikings, one of the Falcons games, and the game against Detroit for us.
Well, I can see from Adam's predictions that he clearly agrees with you there. And I know Adam said in the episode we did that he hoped that last game against the Falcons will be completely irrelevant. Of course, I'm sure we all hope that is still the case. Adam, we'll come on to you as I was talking about your predictions there. Is that final game against the Falcons, is that still going to be a nothing game and we don't need to worry about it?
Well, I hope so. I hope we just blow the rest of the 4 games out of the water. But I have got a personal worry about all these 4 games. The Detroit have cleaned house, so we don't know what kind of regime they're going to be under. They could be playing super hard for their new coach. The Falcons, I think it's a bit. They were winning until the last couple of minutes of their games when they were losing terrible. But so I don't think they're as bad as people might think. And obviously they're playing really well now. The Vikings, they are an up and down team. They scare me a little bit because what they're good at without Justin Jefferson, I won't go into too much detail because we'll talk about him in a sec. But there's certainly points to every team that don't match up quite well with us. But I hope, ever the optimist, I hope we're going to win by an absolute mile the next couple of games and waltz into the playoffs.
As long as we can shut down your favourite guy, Julio Jones.
Oh, God, this guy. Oh.
Right, quickly, I'll move on before Adam has a fit because I mentioned Julio Jones. Phil, what about you? How do you see these 4 panning out?
I think we'll be. I looked at these earlier on, and I think we'll 3-1. I'm just throwing a 1 wobbly in there because I've got this horrible feeling about 2 of our head coaches at the Atlanta Falcons sitting up 24 hours a day thinking, how can we get our own back? I did 3 straight. It's been a funny season, really. You know, you're talking about teams being so inconsistent. You're talking about virtually the whole of the NFL. There's been some really strange results with all sorts, you know. I think we'll beat the Vikings. I think we'll win one of the 2 Falcons games, and I think we should beat the Lions as well. Mm-hmm. And then we're looking at probably, you know, we're looking at 10-6, which will be playoff material. And let's be quite honest, if we all go back to week 1, what did we all say? As long as we can all make the playoffs.
100%.
Absolutely. It's been too long.
We achieved it. And we wobbled past all these. We've got a very tough schedule. And we've also, we had a very tough schedule, and we're 7-5. And I think it's not as bad as the press and everybody wants us to believe. I think there's some good hopes this year. I mean, can I just go back to very, very quickly to the game on Sunday? A week ago, we had our running backs not catching anything. This week, they caught everything. So you know, we're repairing this thing slowly but surely, and I'm quite optimistic. As for the playoffs, well, Have you seen the rest of the NFC? Good, blimey. I mean, oh dear, the Giants and the Eagles and the Cowboys. Well, dear, oh
Bonkers.
dear, oh dear.
Yeah,
You find it
that
feel like
division is
incredible.
interesting to say the least, isn't it? I think
Yeah.
is it the Giants who are top with a losing record, or
Yeah.
it's
They're all losing.
yeah, they are,
Yeah.
yes. Hopefully, no concerns if we face one of those. Well, I've jinxed that now, haven't I? Never mind. So, just to round off, we're just going to go back to the Vikings now, if you don't mind, gentlemen, just to look at them in a little bit more depth. I'd like to know from each of you, if that's all right. So, Phil, I'll come to you first from this time. What would you say is your key to the game, and is there a player or players you think that should be watched very carefully from either side?
Yeah, my key to the game is our secondary again. I watch a lot of college football, and I thought the best wide receiver coming out of the draft was Justin Jefferson. I thought for LSU, he was absolutely fantastic. And
He's had a good game recently as well. He's done well.
Oh, I mean, look at his stats for a rookie. He really is impressive. He was impressive at LSU. He's impressive at the Vikings. They're going to have to give him too much room, and he'll run as ragged. So it's our secondary that concerns me, and their wide receivers as well. You know.
Adam, what's your key to the game, and which players do we need to keep an eye on?
Well, definitely, you hit the nail on the head there, Phil, with Justin Jefferson. He's got the tools that can do exactly what Tyreek did against us Sunday just gone. So we got to watch him as their player. But I think our key, and we can bang the drum on this all day, is establishing this damn run. We've got to do it. I don't know how many times I can sit here and say it. Like it's just the obvious thing. We've got to get the O-line going. We've got to get the run game going. And as soon as that is set, all these passes, Chris Godwin will have much more room. Gronk will be down the seam easy. Everything will just fall into place a lot more easy. But we've got to get that run going.
Can I just say, you've had the key thing here. We all go back to the same thing. And I would say week in, week out, but it's season in, season out, it's the O-line. You know, we've got Ali Marpet back. We've got everybody up and running again now. And it's the key to everything, what we're doing. This is our O-line.
I'm going to mention our favourite man here now, in Donovan Smith. Now, I will say, I thought he had a pretty good game on Sunday. I don't think he really put a foot wrong. But for me, in terms of the offensive line as a whole, he is the weak spot of that offensive line. I think Tristan Wirfs has been outstanding. Jensen, Kappa, Jensen, and Marpet have always been strong for us. It's that left tackle. It's Brady's blind side. And I think if we need to get that sorted, we're going to have a really strong offensive line. David, what about you on your keys to the game and players to watch?
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings, they play a pretty balanced team, if only we had such. I mean, Dalvin Cook, great run game, but I think we can stop him. Just like we do against so many runs. So it comes back to the same thing, that if we can cut out their run, it's stopping the big plays. You've all said about Jefferson. The other guy, of course, is Adam Thielen, who is a beast and a sort of player, big player that we sort of struggle against in the middle of the field at times. And so, you know, our coverage on those two has got to be right up there. It is quite interesting because Thielen's on my fantasy team. That you really notice when he doesn't play. But you notice when he doesn't play, the Vikings struggle.
Is he due back then? Is he due back against us? He is back.
Yeah,
was he out? Was he out?
Yeah, he was out on COVID list.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It was COVID. Okay.
If he's depends if he's back or not. But he's their big playmaker as well. Yeah. He does all the hard work on the receiving side, and Jefferson makes the big stuff. So, focus on those two, definitely, and stop this zonal coverage. Let's go man-to-man with a bit of safety behind to protect.
The stats are favourable in our direction. Like, against the pass, they are 25th against the pass. We are 24th. So, and I would say that was our weak point. Against the run, we're first, and they are 19th. So in my eyes, we got to hit their 19th ranked run defense. And as far as their passing goes, they're 17th in passing. So they're not such a potent team as you'd like. So the stats matchup wise are very favourable towards us.
But Adam, it's easy to be first in running if no one's running against us.
Well, that's it.
I'd just like to add to what you're saying there, Adam, actually, because I've watched a little bit of the Vikings over the season, and Cousins does struggle from game to game. He's a good quarterback, don't get me wrong, but we know we can bring pressure to the quarterback. And I know they've got playmakers, but hopefully if we can get to Cousins, make it difficult for him, fingers crossed, we can really affect him and cause their passing game to be a little bit off. Yeah. And hopefully that means we'll be all right on zonal coverage if we set up for it again. And finally, guys, let's just go to our score predictions. David, how do you see this one panning out?
34-14 to the Bucs.
Nice.
Bill?
35-21 for Bucs.
Adam?
Well, I've gone 38-35 twice in a row now, and we've lost twice in a row, 24-27, so I'm not saying that. I'm going to say a real close game. I'm going to say 21-17.
Ooh, that is a close one. I admit, Adam, I'm more on the lines of you here. I think we're going to win. I think after 2 dodgy games in a row, Brady's going to really want to hit this one running. I think we will concede points because we do concede defensively. So I've gone for 27-17 to the Bucs. But I think we're going to get back on that or start another winning streak, I hope.
Let's hope so.
Absolutely. And that's our show. Remember, we are not only on YouTube, you can also listen to us on the move. The podcast is available to download on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Anchor, Breaker, Google Podcast, Pocket Cast, and Overcast. So we shall be back in a couple of weeks. The Bucs are taking a bye, so as are we from the podcast just for next week. And when we do return, we'll be reviewing the Vikings game and looking ahead to the first of our 2 games against Atlanta when the Buccaneers make the trip to the Falcons. So all that's left for me to do is to thank David, Phil, and Adam for joining me.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
And thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the bye week, and we'll see you soon.